show you the paper piecing in the end. It's just another version of that.
Okay, so hi, I'm Becky. I'm actually a fabric applique quilting designer. I'm called Willow and Hair Stitching. I've come along today because I'm absolutely huge Jane Austen fan. She got me into quilting and paper piecing, having seen her quilt here at the house. I regularly come along, hence I saw the advert today for the sewing circle. So I'll come along with my friend today to join, and hopefully we'll come back again because I think there's going to be more. So my background is in cross stitching, but I also have done a lot of freehand embroidery over time. I discovered applique and patchwork about 15 years ago, and I tried to start fusing all of those elements together. So I design my own quilts and some other pieces. I've got a little one here. It's that kind of thing that I do. So it's putting applique onto things, doing embroidery, and then the English paper piecing, which is what Jane Austen used in her quilt. She didn't use hexagons, she used diamonds, but it's the same technique. So at the moment what I'm doing is just some really, really tiny ones. I'm designing a little pincushion at the moment, and these are just going to be appliqued onto it. So they're absolutely minuscule little hexagons, and these ones are made of fabric, but traditionally they're made of paper. So I'll just show you one that I'm doing. So I basically, what I'm trying to do as well is what we call fussy cutting. So I want a particular piece of this fabric to be used, so I've selected this tiny little flower in the centre here. So I'm going to use that in the centre of this hexagon. So obviously years ago they wouldn't have had things like glue sticks. I don't use it when I'm using paper piecing for bigger things, but these are so tiny. I'm just going to use a dab of this on the back of this fabric to stick it down, okay? And then traditionally with the paper piecing, then you would just cut a little bit away around the shape that you're using. Hexagons are a very traditional shape in paper piecing, but you can do all sorts of shapes, and it's a way of joining bits of fabric together to make a bigger piece or just to decorate. So I'm just cutting roughly around the circle here. I can try and show you how they would have done it by hand, but they're so tiny it might not work very well. I'm just going to get lost my needle now. Oh, I know it is. It's here. There we go. So I'll grab my thread. So this thread is it's an orifal thread. It's very, very thin, and it's very, very silky. So the nice thing is when you're doing things like paper piecing, it doesn't catch in the cotton fabric that you're using. It just glides through because you need to do tiny stitches. I'll just thread my needle. Tie a tiny knot in the end just to secure it. What we do is you come up, fold one side of the fabric over the shape to start with, and you just anchor it with your thread. Okay. Oops. And then what you do is you hold that first side over the shape, and you move along to the second side and fold it over. What I do is a tiny, I couldn't have bought the smallest ones for you to film. I had the bigger ones so you could see it better. But I'm just going to do a little stitch in the corner just to secure it there. And then again I'm going to move along to the next side, turn that over. Can you see this okay? I'm just going to put a stitch in there. I'm starting to get the sides formed for the shape. Okay. And I'm going to go along to the next side. This is not going to be very easy to demonstrate because they're so tiny, I'm sorry, they're not bigger. I'm just finger pressing as I go, just to help hold the shape. Terribly fiddly, the small ones. I need some smaller fingers. So each corner just has a tiny stitch in it just to anchor it. I'm just folding as I go, you probably can't see exactly what I'm doing. But the nice thing about the paper piecing, especially with sort of in the era of Jane Austen, what I've read about her quilt, is that they didn't really have much fabric and they didn't have much thread. It was, you know, something that was very scarce, especially the pretty ones. So they used to collect it from all sorts of places, especially like old shops that were dressmaking and so on. Because you just need scraps basically. So I've got a bigger piece here, okay, I'm going to use. And I'll get some different thread. So this is a bigger shape, so I want to use some stronger thread for this. Okay. Got the boring bit of filming again. So at the moment we've just abandoned the tiny hexagon.
Oh yeah, I can see that. She's Hungarian. That's interesting.
Okay, so this is a bigger piece. This is an exact piece of diamond, the size that Jane Austen used in her quilt. So this is proper traditional English paper piecing. So I've just pinned the paper onto the back of the fabric. I'm going to cut a seam, just a rough seam around the shape. Okay, right then, so the first side I'm just going to fold over and I'm going to finger press it until I reach one of the corners. Then I turn again and I'm going to finger press along the edge as well. Okay, so I take my thread that's got a little knot in the end and I just do a tiny stitch in between both of the fabrics so it holds them together. I pull that through and go over and do another stitch. I'm going to work all the way to the end. Points are always a bit tricky to get right, so you just turn over. Okay, and I'm just going to jump straight to the end and do another stitch right on that corner piece. Okay, and I'm going to finger press this side, so I go all the way to the next corner, turn the fabric over and stitch those two pieces together right on that corner there. And I'm going to go all the way to the last corner, turn it. Okay, nearly there. Okay, so that's the finished shape. Okay. So what you would have is lots and lots of these, and then if I had another one this shape, I would just join the sides and stitch it, over stitch it from behind. And what you'll end up with is these bits you won't see because they're on the back. You could cut them down a little bit so they're not quite so big. It's just the folded fabric. Take my pin out and you can see the paper's in there. So So that's paper piecing, so it's how you form the shape around the paper. And then you can leave, a lot of them left the papers in. So when you find old quilts nowadays, you often find really interesting bits of paper in. Like they used to use letters, envelopes, anything, because again, paper was scarce. So yeah, so that's the Jane Austen quilt size, and the ones I'm working on at the minute are that size, so they're just totally different. Okay, but this isn't for a quilt, as I'd be there for years. This is to sew onto something.
Show you the paper piecing on the end. It's just another version of that.